The first thing I noticed when I woke up wasn't the beeping machines or the tube down my throat. It was my stepmother, Patricia, sitting in the visitor's chair, wearing my grandmother's emerald ring. My grandmother's ring, the one she pressed into my palm before she died, whispering, "This stays with blood, Natalie. Promise me." I must have made a sound because Patricia looked up from her phone, her face cycling through surprise, annoyance, and finally settling on fake concern. "Oh, you're awake," she said. She stood, not to call a nurse, but to gather her things. I'll go get your father." The ring caught the light as she moved. My ring. My grandmother's ring on her perfectly manicured hand, like it belonged there. I tried to speak, but the ventilator wouldn't let me. My last memory was clear, though. The tree falling toward Dad during the storm. Me shoving him out of the way. The sickening crack as it pinned me instead. 3 months, the nurses told me later. I'd been in a coma for 3 months. Dad arrived an hour later, and I knew immediately something was wrong beyond the ring. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Kept fidgeting with his phone. Looked older, but also guilty. "Natalie," he said carefully, like I might break. "How are you feeling?" I gestured weakly at the ventilator. Obviously, I couldn't answer.
Right.
"Of course," he said. "The doctors say it can come out tomorrow." He sat down, still not looking at me directly. There's something we need to discuss about your grandmother's estate." My heart monitor spiked. The nurse had removed the breathing tube that morning, but my throat was too raw to speak above a whisper. I managed one word. "What?" He finally looked at me then, and I saw it all in his eyes. The betrayal he was about to confess, the justification he'd already built in his mind. "Your sister was here every day," he started. Stepsister. Lauren was Patricia's daughter from her first marriage. We'd never been close. She'd been 20 when Dad married Patricia 5 years ago, already out of college, and working at Patricia's real estate firm. She treated our father's house like a hotel and me like the staff every single day. He continued, "While you were unconscious, she held vigils. She organized meal trains for Patricia and me. She handled things." "The ring," I whispered. His face flushed. "Your grandmother's estate was distributed 2 months ago. We couldn't wait. There were tax implications and you were," he gestured vaguely at the hospital bed. "Lauren needed the money for her wedding. You know how expensive." "All of it," I said, my voice cracking.
Dad.
"All of it." He stood abruptly. "Family is about showing up, Natalie. Lauren showed up. You weren't available. I was in a coma. Saving your life. That's not. You don't understand how hard these 3 months have been. Patricia has been beside herself. Lauren's been our rock. We needed to make decisions. You gave her my inheritance. She's family too," he snapped, then caught himself. "Look, when you're feeling better, we can discuss some kind of arrangement. Maybe Lauren would be willing." "Get out, Natalie," I said, reaching for the nurse's call button and pressing it repeatedly. "Get out." The nurse who responded took one look at my face, my vitals spiking dangerously, and ushered him from the room. "Sir, you need to leave now." As the door closed behind him, I heard him tell Patricia in the hallway, "She's being unreasonable." After everything Lauren had done while I was fighting for my life, because I'd saved his. The next days blurred together. Physical therapy, breathing exercises, learning to walk again. But my mind was sharp, focused on one thing: the complete betrayal by the man I'd nearly died protecting. My best friend, Vera, flew in from Seattle the moment she heard I was awake. She was the one who filled in the blanks, showing me Lauren's social media posts from the past 3 months. "Look at this," Vera said, scrolling through Lauren's Instagram. She documented every single hospital visit like she was gunning for sainthood. The posts were nauseating. Lauren posing with prayer hands outside the ICU. Lauren bringing my father coffee with captions about staying strong for family. Lauren wearing designer outfits to her vigils, which seemed to last exactly long enough for a photo op. But one post made my blood run cold. It was from 6 weeks ago, Lauren at the lawyer's office, signing papers. The caption read, "Blessed to be trusted with carrying on Grandma Ellen's legacy." Hashtag family first, hashtag grateful heart. She called my grandmother Grandma Ellen. My grandmother, who barely tolerated Patricia and actively disliked Lauren after she tried to have Grandma declared incompetent to manage her own finances. There's more, Vera said quietly. She pulled up a wedding planning website, Lauren's wedding registry. The requested cash gift started at $500. Look at the venue, Vera continued. I looked. My stomach dropped. That's Grandma's house. Not anymore, Vera said. According to property records, it was sold 8 weeks ago to a development company. They'd sold my grandmother's house, the house where I'd spent every summer, where she taught me to bake, where she built her art studio in the backyard. The house she'd specifically left to me because she knew I'd preserve it, not flip it for profit.
How?
I whispered. The will. That's the thing, Vera said. I did some digging. Your dad had power of attorney while you were incapacitated. He used it to accept the inheritance on your behalf, then immediately transferred everything to Lauren as a gift. Legally gray, but technically possible. How much? I asked, though I already knew it would hurt. The house sold for $2.8 million. The cash assets were another $1.2 million, plus the jewelry, the art collection. For $1 million, I finished. He gave Lauren $4 million while I was in a coma from saving his life. Vera held my hand while I processed this. $4 million. My grandmother's entire life's work, meant to secure my future, fund the art therapy nonprofit I dreamed of starting, gone. Financing Lauren's designer wedding and Patricia's new Mercedes. What do you want to do? Vera asked. I looked at her, really looked at her. Vera, who'd flown across the country the moment she heard I was awake, who'd spent hours researching what had happened, who brought me real food instead of hospital jello and sat through my physical therapy sessions. I want to make a call, I said. The law firm of Chun and Associates specialized in elder law and estate disputes. Mr. Chun himself came to the hospital after reviewing the documents Vera had gathered. This is unconscionable, he said flatly. Using power of attorney to circumvent a will's clear intentions while you were in a medically induced coma after you were injured, saving his life. We have a case. I don't want to sue my father, I said. You're not, Mr. Chin corrected. You're suing to recover stolen assets. Your father made himself complicit, but the target is the recipient of the fraudulent transfer. Lauren, my stepsister, who performed hospital visits for Instagram likes while helping steal my inheritance. There's something else, Mr. Chin added. The house sale, it was an arm's length. The development company is owned by Patricia's brother. They undervalued it by at least $800,000. Of course they did. The next morning, a different nurse brought my breakfast tray with an odd expression. There's a woman here claiming to be your sister. Should I let her in? No, I said firmly. I don't have a sister. But Lauren didn't take no for an answer. I heard her in the hallway, voice pitched high with indignation. I've been here every single day for 3 months. I have a right to see her. Ma'am, the patient has declined visitors. This is ridiculous. After everything I've done, the vigils, the prayers. The theft, I called out, loud enough to carry. Silence, then the click of heels retreating rapidly down the hallway. That afternoon, Dad returned with Patricia. The nurse tried to stop them, but I waved her off. I wanted to hear their justification. Patricia spoke first, clutching her purse like a shield. Natalie, sweetheart, you have to understand. We thought you might never wake up. The doctors said. I was in a medically induced coma, I interrupted. Not brain dead. The doctors were optimistic about recovery. I have the medical records. But the estate needed to be handled, she said. Taxes were due. In 18 months, I finished. I looked it up. You had 1.5 years to wait. Lauren needed to steal from an unconscious woman. Yes, apparently she did, Patricia said, her face hardening, the mask slipping. She's getting married. Do you know how much weddings cost these days? And with the market, Grandma's house was worth nearly $3 million. You sold it for $2 million. They exchanged glances.
Caught.
To your brother, Patricia, who's already filed permits to tear it down and build condos. That house was falling apart, Patricia said defensively. My responsibility. My inheritance. My choice. Dad stepped forward. Natally, be reasonable. Lauren's your sister. Stepsister. And she's nothing to me now. Neither are you. The words hung in the air like a blade. I nearly died saving your life, I continued, my voice steady despite the tears threatening. I shoved you out of the way of a falling tree. I took the hit, and while I was fighting to breathe, you let them rob me. We didn't rob. Get out. I pressed the nurse's button. And know this. I've already hired a lawyer. Every penny Lauren took will be returned, or I'll see her in court. The house sale will be challenged. The jewelry will be recovered. All of it. Patricia laughed, sharp and bitter. You can't prove anything. It was all legal. Your father had every right. To violate his fiduciary duty? To commit fraud? To transfer assets in clear contradiction of the will's intent. I smiled coldly. My lawyer disagrees. So, does the forensic accountant who's already found the paper trail. Dad's face had gone gray. Forensic accountant.
Oh, yes.
Turns out, when you rush to steal $4 million, you leave tracks. Like Lauren's wedding planner payments starting 2 days after I entered the ICU. Or the house listing going up while I was still critical. Or Patricia's new car purchased the day after the estate closed. You're destroying this family, Dad said quietly. No, I replied. You destroyed it the moment you chose greed over your daughter's life. Security arrived to escort them out. As they left, Patricia turned back one last time. That ring was too good for you anyway. Lauren wears it better. I smiled. Tell Lauren to enjoy it while she can. The police take a dim view of receiving stolen property over $50,000. Patricia's face went white. They'd forgotten that Grandma's ring had been appraised, that I had records. Their greed had made them sloppy. The lawsuit was filed within the week. Lauren tried to play the victim on social media, posting about how I was attacking the family that supported me, but the comments weren't what she expected. Turns out, people have opinions about stealing from coma patients. Someone leaked the story to a local news station. Woman has inheritance stolen while in coma after saving father's life. Made for compelling television. Lauren's wedding venue canceled her booking after the bad publicity. Vendors pulled out. Her grand $500,000 wedding became a courthouse ceremony with no guests. Even Patricia's family distanced themselves once the fraud investigation began. It took 8 months, but we won. The judge's ruling was scathing. Words like unconscionable, predatory, and breach of fiduciary duty featured heavily. Lauren was ordered to return every penny, plus interest and legal fees. The house sale was voided due to the conflict of interest and undervaluation. Patricia's brother faced his own legal troubles. Dad tried calling once after the ruling. I didn't answer, but he left a voicemail. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you for tearing apart this family. I saved that voicemail. Sometimes, when I doubt myself, I listen to it. It reminds me that he still doesn't understand. Grandma would have been ashamed of him for choosing his new wife's daughter over his own, for letting greed override love, for betraying the daughter who nearly died saving him. I recovered fully, eventually. The physical therapy worked. The scars faded. I even started the art therapy nonprofit I dreamed of, funded by the inheritance that was rightfully mine. The building sits on the lot where Grandma's house used to stand. I couldn't save the original structure. Patricia's brother had already done too much damage. But I rebuilt something better. A place where kids could learn art like I had in Grandma's studio, where healing happened through creation. I named it after her, the Ellen Hartley Center for Arts and Recovery. Lauren sent a letter once, asking if we could move past this. She was getting divorced. Apparently, her husband hadn't signed up for the debt and legal troubles. She needed help. I sent back a photo of the center's opening day, kids painting in the sunshine where Grandma's garden used to be, the emerald ring, recovered by court order, on my hand as I cut the ribbon. No other message was needed. Family isn't about showing up for photos at the hospital. It's not about counting visits or performing grief for social media. It's not about being there when it's convenient or profitable. It's about love when it costs you something. It's about protection when you're vulnerable. It's about trust when you can't protect yourself. I learned that the hard way, unconscious in a hospital bed while vultures circled. But I also learned that blood doesn't always mean family, and family doesn't always mean blood. The kids at the center call me Aunt Nat now. They hug me with paint-covered hands and show me their art with shining eyes. They trust me to keep them safe while they create. That's family. That's showing up. And that's worth more than $4 million, though. Oh, I'm glad I got that back.